All right, so we recording now. Well, let's see that little recording thing there. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into the liver tea. Now, why we do a liver cleanse? Me personally, without the liver, number one, we cannot live. Okay, that's why it's named the liver, and the word live is in liver. Everything passes through there. It is the checkpoint. That's three sides, so we know it's a fire element, right? It deals with all your metabolism and all of that. So anytime there's something going on with the body, any condition developing, the liver has to be compromised. And this is why don't matter what you're making, whether it's for the eyes, the ears, the skin, whatever, we always support the liver. Okay? When it comes to the liver, we know that what? It goes hand in hand with the gallbladder. Right? Liver, gallbladder. Now, there's a lot of people that take out their gallbladder because of stones. They get that sharp pain and they just can't take the pain. So when they reach to the emergency room, they just give them the surgery. You know, so it's a slice and you don't have to go in like back in the day. So people opt for that and they take out the gallbladder. So be mindful of that too. When you see that on the paper, you should know, right? If you see, all right, remove gallbladder, and then you look at the diet, what they're eating, and they eat a lot of fried foods, you know, it's nothing but problems going on, right? Because without the gallbladder, you can't break down any of the oils that we eat, especially when it comes to fried foods, right? So you just start connecting the dots, and you know you know how to move forward, I should say. When it comes to the tea, all right. So when I put a tea together, which is the liver gallbladder tea, I have what? Barberry, dandelion. Both of these are liver tonics. Okay, barberry, dandelion, liver tonics. Actually, dandelion is more of a what we call a metabolic herb. So you could use it like every day, like an everyday tonic, right? Um, when it comes to liver cancer and all them kind of stuff, dandelion will do so much to the point where you have no more the cancer again, right? But I don't know, people, this cancer business. Anyway, there's yellow duck inside of the tea. The yellow duck is in the tea to actually build the blood and cleanse it also. We know that yellow duck carries a lot of iron, right? And this iron that yellow duck carries is one that that the body recognizes and it could break it down. It's not the iron pills that paralyzes the whole digestive system and constipates people. It's natural iron that you could drink and the body could absorb it well and build the blood, right? As you build the blood now, the person gets more energy. They get more energy because, and this is why it's the whole liver cleanse is set the way it's set. So when we drink the Greek Al in the morning, right, with all the greens and stuff, green represent oxygen. So it brings a lot of oxygen in the body. Now, through the day, we drink the liver gallbladder tea, which has the iron in it, which will increase the cell intake of oxygen as we go through the day, right? So everything, there is the tea, but then the whole method behind it is for a reason, right? What else? We have French tree in there. French tree is designed, I shouldn't say design, it is put in the herb to actually stimulate the blood making organs, right? And blood making glands, if you call it. You know, we don't hear, or you all hear a lot of talk about the spleen. Nah, I, I hear people talk about every part of the body, but they don't really
Very
talk.
rarely. Very rarely. Yeah.
Very, yeah? Okay. So the spleen now is what the spleen does. It takes bad cells, right? Send them to be eliminated and triggers for new cells, sends hormones for the body to trigger and produce new blood cells, right? So when I found this out now, I was like, so all these bad cells, all these bad cancer cells and all these other cells that's in the body, and the spleen is working to remove them and trigger the body to produce more. Why are we still having all these problems inside the body? And then I had to ask myself, well, I started observing and I see people don't talk about the spleen at all, right? And the spleen is very important to the body function. I mean, when you talk about an organ that or a gland, if you want to call it that, you know, that has the ability to identify bad cells and remove them from the body, you know, and stimulate for more new cells to fringe, FRINGE, fringe tree, right? So, you know, you put that fringe tree in there, and this is what stimulates these blood producing organs to work even more efficiently, right? And that is in the gallbladder tea also. We have burdock. You know, burdock, we all know burdock is good for a whole lot of things, but what it's in here for is to actually help with the cleansing of the blood. Because as we start energizing the liver and doing all the other things, you wanna you wanna cleanse the blood, and I'm using cleanse the blood because that's what we know. Me personally, the way I look at it is if there is bad blood cells or bad bacteria in the body, right? And you putting in good stuff, two things cannot occupy the same space at the same time. So when I'm putting in burdock, something has to leave the body. It's simple as that, right? If it's not leaving the body, then we start seeing the body starting to swell, right? Starting to hold on to a lot of water and stuff like that. So you pay attention to stuff like that too, right? But everything is in there for a reason. The peppermint is in there also to help with the cholesterol. Peppermint helps relieve that whole cholesterol issue. Raw or in the dry form. Now, when it comes to cholesterol, right, we know that the body doesn't produce anything bad. The body, anything that leaves the body is waste. If the body is producing it and it's staying on the inside, it's for a reason. It's not waste and it's not bad, right? Anyone here could explain cholesterol to me? The LDL, what we call bad cholesterol. Why does it produce?
I don't know why it produces, but I think, if I remember correctly, it lines the arteries. Oh, I think I know.
Mm-hmm.
You'll tell me if I'm wrong, I'm sure. So I think there's like these free radicals that are bouncing off the inside of your arteries, and the cholesterol is there to protect. It's like a lining for the arteries so that the free radicals, whatever they are, don't create like holes in the inside of your arteries.
Okay. I would take that.
Okay, good.
I would take that, and what I would do, I would just add my piece to it. Some of,
Okay.
um, when you say it produced, the LDL is produced to protect the veins and the arteries. Let's take sugar, for example. Just because sugar is dilute, sugar is a crystal, right? Sometimes you use it in scrubs and stuff.
Mm.
And when you scrub it on, it's very harsh. Now, just because we cannot see sugar when we mix it in and dilute it, it doesn't mean that that harshness is going in.
Mm.
The harshness is just, it becomes more fine. You cannot see it. So now you have this sugar in your blood racing through your veins and your arteries like razor blades, right? And as it does that, it scars the inside of your veins and your arteries. Now, once that is happening, what happens is the LDL, the liver starts kicking it in and producing it. The reason why it produces it is to, as you said, to line the veins and the arteries, to protect it from the scarring, right? And actually repair it. Look at it just as if I was to get cut, right? The blood will coagulate, it will form a scab, and the scab will flow, and the cut will be healed. It's the same thing on the inside. This is what the LDL is produced to do, right? And as it heals on the inside, what happens once the healing is done and good, the LDL stops producing, it goes right back down. But now we turn around and say the bad cholesterol is high, and we give you something, or I should say they give something to stop the body from producing the cholesterol, right? Cholesterol medicine. Then we see the body continues to lose energy because we just stop it from basically healing itself. And most of the time when they take that cholesterol medicine, what happens is the diet stays the same. So when the diet stays the same, now you see how things just start to amplify, right? Because if something is scarring your veins and your arteries and cutting through, eventually what will happen? You have some type of bleed out on the inside. So it's like, what are we really doing? There is peppermint. Yeah, we talk about peppermint, and we know peppermint brings a lot of oxygen in the body too, right? So as I say, peppermint does a lot of stuff. This is why it's called pepper mint, right? Because it could be hot and cool at the same time. And we know when it comes to anything in nature, is only two things. When it comes to the temperature, is hot and cold, right? And they mix and they get the perfect temperature, whatever they choose, right? So peppermint is very, how to call it, powerful, right? In there's gravel root also. You could use gravel root, you could use stone root. If you don't have that, you could use hydrangea root. They all break up stones. So whether you're working with gallstones, whether you're working with kidney stones, whether you're working with any kind of stones, right? If you want to break them up and get them out the body, you could use any one of these herbs, right? And there's some others too, right? And that is, I put that in there in the event that that somebody has gallstones, because what will happen is, which are glad none of that happened when we did the liver cleanse in May. When I did it years ago, one lady, she had gallstones. And when we started to flush the liver and start drinking the oils and stuff like that, once you drink the oil, now the gallbladder is going to be pumping because it's pumping to break the oil down. So she had some stones. And what happened the bile started to pump? She was in pain. She was in so much pain. She said she fell on the floor, hole in her abdomen. And she said it didn't last long though. And after a while, it was just like, bloop, and the stone was passed, and she was good to go. Right? Removing stones from the gallbladder is not something you should just do just like that. This is why we prepare. This is why we do the 30 days. You know, because people have some big stones like gems, like big rocks inside there, right? And it cannot come out, so it has to be broken down. And how we break it down is with the herbs and stuff,
I have
right?
a question. Before you were saying, you made a statement. You said that, normally two things can't occupy the same space, but if you have good and bad, I think it was blood cells, and I guess the bad blood cells are not being removed, that something else is happening. Is that what something else is happening, like some other organ, it needs attention? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
Because now if the bad blood cells not being removed, then obviously the spleen itself is compromised. And when we talk about the spleen being compromised, we're talking about if one thing is compromised in that system, when we get into body systems, right? So the spleen belongs to the endocrine system. So if the spleen is compromised, then the entire endocrine system we will support. That's like when you look on your intake sheet and somebody say they had the tonsils removed, right there and then you know the immune system has been compromised, right? Because all of that, the adenoids, all of that, it's a part of the immune system to trigger, right? That's I don't want to say early warning, but it's close to early warning, right? Early warning is you seeing and smelling and stuff like that. Once you put it in your mouth now, right, all of these things start to act up. If we inhale it, all of this starts to act up. And if it's something that the body doesn't want in there, then it starts pumping the mucus, right, to try and contain it, to see how it could deal with it, either get it out the body by coughing, sneezing, hacking, whatever, right? And if not, and it goes down, then it tries to contain it. This is why your good bacteria within your GI tract is so important. It tries to contain it so it does not enter the body, right? But if it goes down and the liver is compromised, then what will happen? Eventually, it will end up inside the body, right? And this is what we don't want. This is why when it comes to digestion, that whole GI tract is so important to keep it, how to put it, lined with the good bacteria. Because if you have too much of the bad bacteria, what will happen is then stuff stays there and starts to break down, starts to rot. And as it starts to rot, now the bad bacteria starts to multiply and start taking over shit. Right? Like when we talk on Tuesday about these men with these 20-month bellies, pregnancy bellies, right? Now all of that stuff inside there, bacteria is loving that. Parasites is loving that. Because now they ain't gotta hide from nothing. It's like they own that space. We sing and oh my God. All right, so that is the liver. That's the liver tea that I have. Now, being that it is a liver tea and it's specific to the liver, right? Everything else is supporting. So give me, inside this tea here, there are 2 herbs that I use the most. Which one do you think that would be, being that it's liver specific?
What's the question again?
All right. So the herbs that I call out, let me call them again: barberry, dandelion, yellow dock, French tree, peppermint, burdock. Right? Now it's a liver gallbladder tea. Now which 2 of these herbs, right? Because I use 2, which are very specific for the liver, right? Which 2 of them would you say? Just give me the names of them. Because this is how you blend your teas. Because if you're dealing with a liver problem, right, the dominant herb in your tea would be for the liver. If you're dealing with the blood, right, your dominant herbs, dandelion, barberry, yes, that is definitely right. Dandelion, burdock, yeah, you spelled it right. Dandelion and burdock, yes, that could be so. You could use that combination too, right? But in this one, when I said that my use for the burdock was more of a blood cleanser, right? So then is the dandelion and the barberry, right? But this is what I want to try and get you all understanding, that the herbs could do a whole lot. So you don't have to stick on 2 herbs or 3 herbs, right? Because you could play with it to the point where, all right, because now, all right, check this out. If I wanted to turn this into like a blood tea, I could do that, a blood cleansing tea, right? Now I just play with it. I play with it. I play with the burdock. I play with the French tree. I play with the yellow dock, and I raise those and I drop the others, and now I have a blood cleanser tea, right? It making sense or no? Yeah. Okay. All right. Reason why I doing it like this is because of last previous classes. When it comes to mixing teas, I don't think they got it fully, so I will always get callbacks and stuff like that. So I say, well, if I'm getting callbacks, let me see if I could change it up a little and we could move forward doing something different. All right, so that is the liver gallbladder tea. Now you have the ingredients. Oh shoot, hold on, I missed that. So if I decide to use dandelion as a staple in each of my blends, that's fine. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. If you choose to use dandelion in each of your blends for the liver, yes, you could do that. Now, let me say this. I talk about dandelion, but we use dandelion leaf, we use the root, and we use the flower, right? What I didn't mention was dandelion root. You could use that for stones also, right? The dandelion leaves and roots, listen, as I say, is something you could use every day. Pay attention, and this is why observation is key, because when springtime comes around, dandelion is everywhere. Now it's everywhere for a reason. It's not just because, right? If when it was, I think it's last year, a herbalist friend of mine said, she called me up and she said, this time a year in New York, we would have a lot of dandelions, but we don't see any dandelions now. All we seeing is mugwort, right? And I'm like, I say that's a good observation, but so now, I didn't try to explain why, She's in New York. You should know. You should know what's going on in New York, right? To know why mugwort is multiplying so much. You know, it's for a reason. It's not when we see these plants or these weeds outside growing up. It's not there just to be there. It's there for a reason, right? And this is why later on, when you all start, well, I'm sure some of you all done doing it already. Like when you go outside and you walk on the grass barefoot and stuff like that. When you touch plants and stuff like that, it becomes simple as that. By you touching a plant, right? Say you're gonna pick some dandelion. From the time you touch that plant, that energy transfer right there. What happens is that plant just, how to put it, boy, the plant itself just transforms itself into what it is your body needs, right? Because they're here for us, right? They're here for us. So this is when I talk about walking barefoot on the ground and stuff like that. I mean, laying down on the grass, whatever it is. As I was walking the other night, I see a woman just stop just like that and start hugging a oak tree. Right? She hugged the oak tree and then she looked at me and she went the next way. I was like, all right, I mean, that's normal, you know, but all these things, all these plants and everything, they're here for a reason. If you see them, they want to be seen. And when people want to be seen, what happens? You know, they end up meeting a lot of different people, right? The plants ain't no different, man. Yeah, we have to understand that the same energy that's holding us up is the same energy that's holding the plants up, right? This is the vital force we're talking about. So when you see the plants, don't be afraid to, you know, talk to them and address them. All right. Any more questions? If not, I will go into the next part of the tea. I wanted to do some hydrotherapy tonight. I wouldn't be able to do it because I don't have an assistant here with me. And I think if I'm just trying to explain it, before you see it, right? It's nothing big. It's just hydrotherapy, right? Just working with water. So there's times when you may not be able to give somebody herbs. So, you know, they have swellings in their hands and stuff, or their feet, where they injured themselves. You could use water, right? You could use hot, you could use cold. Just make sure the temperature of the hot is not too hot to burn, right? You should be able to stick your hand in it or whatever. And once that, and what's the concept of hot and cold, right? Hot and cold is just to it speeds up the healing process, yes. But how does it do that?
Reducing inflammation or opening blood vessels or restricting blood vessels.
Okay.
Well, the restricting blood vessels, I guess, is to remove the inflammation.
Okay.
And then the opening blood vessels is to get the blood moving so that it replaces the bad cells, I think.
Okay. All right. No, you're right. You're right. The whole concept of hot and cold is, you know, when it's cold, you shrivel up, right? When it's hot, you get some dilation. So the more you could do hot and cold, the circulation will increase, and as that circulation increases, then the bad tissue moves away much quickly, and the new tissue with all the new blood and oxygen and stuff like that is rushing to the area and making the repairs to the whatever it is. Right? So that's the whole thing about hot and cold. Anybody try the anybody try the peppermint or eucalyptus oil in some hot water and cover the head with it? That was for, we talk about that on Tuesday. No, nobody? All right, that's fine. Anybody try to sniff their the horseradish tincture? I did it.
Yes, I did.
Yeah?
And
How
my
was it?
brain, I felt like I was high. I, I just have to say, it was really, really powerful.
When I did it, I didn't do it for a long time, so I just opened it and said, let me sniff, man. And I would say it cleared up a whole lot of just about it, you just feel it running through your body. Well, at least for me, I just feel it running through my body, just like I was like, oh my gosh, and this is what now that is we using that as a spray, right? So we will spray it in the hand, or even if you don't have the spray, you have a teaspoon, you put some in somebody's hand, they rub it up, and they inhale, right, to clear up all these sinus problems and stuff like that they have. And you could do it with a whole bunch of other things too, but that
You
that
do
was.
that with horseradish, you said?
Hmm.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Horseradish ain't no joke. You know, horseradish is a powerhouse. It is, especially when it comes to dealing with things like parasites and stuff like that. It definitely is a fire herb. It really brings transformation, forceful transformation, real quickly. Um, and it could be found right in your kitchen. You could eat it, like normal food. So don't be afraid to use what's in the kitchen. Um, Let me see. I want to cover everything I could cover with that liberty. Now, when it comes to the bile, do you all know the color of bile? Yellow? Okay. So, when it comes to, because we're keeping it simple, when it comes to the elements now. So, say you are somewhere and you need something for the liver, and you don't have dandelion, you don't have barberry, you don't have um, nothing that you know for the liver, right? But you look and you see a plant with a bright yellow flower, right? The locals tell you, hey, this is edible. You know it's edible. Would you incorporate that in your tea for that liver and gallbladder? Yes? All right. That's good, right? Because now you start matching up not only um, herbs, but we start looking at the colors that represent the elements also, right? We look at the colors that represents the elements, and as we do that, you could listen. You will never be stuck saying, I do not have this herb, right? You will never be stuck. We know yellows and we know the range of yellows. We know that the liver has three sides, right? It is a triangle with three sides. Now, with it being three sides, bile is yellow, right? It produces and it gives your poop that nice kind of brownish, yellowish, greenish hue, right? So when we see things that are yellow, especially now. No way, no. No. Bile not black. No, bile is not black. Bile from the gallbladder? Because I know, I think I know what you're referring to, you know, kind of. Do they call it? But they don't call it bile. They call it something else. Yeah, but no, bile is not black. Bile is more on the yellowish side, yellowish greenish. It gives your poop that yellowish greenish hue. Yeah, but it's not black. Mm-mm, mm-mm. All that black stuff inside your liver is waste. It's toxins, right? So, all right. So when we look at the liver now, the liver compromise. Let me talk about sugar, right? I like talking sugar. Sugar is the #1 poison that we love. So when too much sugar starts coming into the body and it starts making its way in the body, I should say, because from the GI tract all the way to the anus, that's outside the body, right? Your whole GI tract is considered outside the body. The only time it's inside the body is when it's in the blood. For it to get in the blood, it has to go through the liver. So now, when sugar starts breaking the liver down and the liver starts, you know, pumping the sugar in the adipose tissue and we start putting on weight. What happens now is the liver is designed to hold on to a lot of toxins and it will hold on to these toxins, right? The #1 reason the liver will hold on to toxins is because it has no place to release it. And when I say it has no place to release it, when we look at the elimination, which is the colon, right? 9 times out of 10, people be constipated. So the liver knows if it releases this toxin to be eliminated and it cannot be eliminated, where would it end up? Back inside the body. So it will hold on to it, right? So now, as that happens, this is why when you look at, you know, people talking about they eat the liver for iron, right? And when you look at the chicken liver and all them other animals' liver and it's black, right? It's nothing but toxic waste that's inside there. But they say they get iron from it. I do not know. I don't eat liver, right? But that is the blackness that you see in the liver. The gallbladder itself produces bile, which is the yellowish hue that you see on your poop when you come out, right? I hope you all look at your poop, you see the color of it, right? If it's too heavy, that means, you know, there's a lot of stuff that, I mean, if it falling in the bowl and bloop and sticking in the bowl and stuff like that, just imagine how much weight you have on the inside, right? And you gotta clear that out. That whole breaking down process is a fermenting process, and it should be nice and, you know, fluffy and stuff like that. So just take your time when you're looking at these things. You know, you're gonna be able to put it together, right? Even what they call it, you know, lumps in the breast and stuff like that. The liver breaking down. The liver breaking down, and you see, the thing is, when the liver breaks down and it has to send things certain places, now it will send it for you to be able to identify it and say, hey, my body needs help. You understand? What is this I'm feeling here? You know, what is this I'm feeling here? Something isn't right. And your body will talk to you, right? Yes, it does. It will make the liver work extra. But this is what I will say. When it comes to, I mean, it makes everything work extra, right? Because you know it helps. It is to help digest the food, break your food down. So if your food ain't breaking down, then what is happening? You ain't getting all the nutrients from the food, right? So when the gallbladder is removed, remember the body itself does not know that stuff's supposed to be removed. It's not knowing that. How to explain this? When we remove body parts, the body doesn't register that it is gone, right? Because it's not supposed to be taken out of the body, right? Your body is designed with what it has, and it is sealed for a reason. It's supposed to be in there. This is why people get, you ever hear people who missing limbs talk about phantom pain? All right, so the body, it's like the leg is still there. It's like the arm is still there. But although it's not there, they're still getting the pain and all the different sensations and stuff like that. So it's not registering that it's gone, because it shouldn't be gone, right? But now that the gallbladder is gone, the liver has to compromise, because now you're taking in if they don't change the diet and they continue to take in all the fried food and stuff like that, I mean, the liver will be like, yo, what the hell is going on? And this is why I always tell people, you know, if you want, you could change the oils that you cook with, because there's certain oils that fry at certain temperatures. Me personally, I don't have time for that. I'm not a chef, so I'm not looking for this flavor and that flavor. So I just stay with coconut oil, right? Coconut oil is the only oil that don't burn. Everything else burns. This is why you could take chicken from the freezer and dump it in the fryer, and within minutes or seconds sometimes, it's nice and crispy. Because that oil, the structure of it has changed so much that it's just nothing but fire, nothing but poison. And then we ingest that, and we expect the body to be able to break it down in the state that it is, which it can't, because now the body doesn't recognize it, right? And this is why when we talk about olive oil, most people know it's not to cook with olive oil, because it changes so quickly. It can't tolerate heat, right? So things like that we have to look at and just pay attention to as we go ahead, because if you look at the intake sheet, it has all those things in there where, you know, how much of this type of food you eat and how many days and all of that type of stuff. So it take for you to get a good picture of what it is going on in this person. Right? So we clear on the bile and the color of the bile and stuff like that. Okay, cool. Now, let me see. I don't want to miss anything on this tea. Yeah. All right. So this is what I want to do. Now you have my tea blend. You have the tea blend, and tomorrow I'll post it again. So your assignment for this weekend is to create a liver gallbladder tea. Now you could choose to use the exact same herbs, or you could choose others, right? And this now you could email to me, and I will ask questions, because I want what it is. I want to know the intention of the tea, right? So what is this herb doing? What is that herb doing? And remember, each herb could do something, could do more than one thing, right? This is why, who it was, boy, some one of those, I forget who it was, but they asked how They had a client that had like 10,000 things going on with them. And they wanted to know how they could address it in one tea. Now, this is where you have to know your herbs. And when you know your herbs now, and you calling it out in your head as you mix, now the intentions that you putting in is what exactly is going to take place when you give that person that tea. Right? So getting to know your herbs, as I say, you should be drinking a herb every day, enjoy it. It will only make you stronger. Right? Let me see. Okay. Let me ask this. So we know that the whole yellow and when it comes to the liver is a bright yellow, right? And that bright yellow is on the fire side of things. This is why the liver is the main source of fuel to the body, right? It is the metabolizer of the body, right? So now, when we look at fast food chains and we look at the colors that they use, right, in their logos and on the buildings and stuff like that, you see a lot of bright reds and a lot of bright yellows. And it's for a reason, right? Because they're basically telling you that the food that they're serving is designed to transform your body, right? I mean, we look at it every day and we just think it's just, that's just the colors they use, but it's so way more than that. To the point where they're basically telling you exactly what it is going on. But if we're not aware of it, then we just see it for the colors that it is, right? It's way more than that. And that type of food will, listen, I'm not here to tell people what to eat. You eat what you want, when you want, how you want it. I'm just here to share the herbal stuff. All right, any more questions on the liver? We're going to cover it later on down when we're dealing with, I think, digestion and stuff like that. But for right now, any more questions? Because we're just doing some blended stuff here. No? All right, cool. So let me give you all our next tea, which is the Paramune tea. I call it Paramune because it's designed to eliminate parasites and stimulate the immune system, right? In the Paramune tea, you have elecampane root. We talked about elecampane when we was talking about lungs 2 days ago. We have olive leaf, eucalyptus, sheep sorrel, hyssop, echinacea, portiaco, and calendula flowers. Now, with that said, which one of these herbs would you say is in here to support the liver, if any? Elecampane. Oh, go ahead.
Can you repeat it again?
Elecampane, olive leaf, eucalyptus leaf, sheep sorrel, hyssop, echinacea, portiaco, and calendula flowers. Remember, not only the herb itself, but pay attention to the colors, the characteristics of the herbs.
The calendula flower.
Calendula flower, okay. I definitely give you that. Yeah. Right? Now, always support the herb. Now, remember, this is part of a kit. So it does support the liver, but not to, in this tea blend here, it does that on a minimal basis. The calendula inside here is actually to go deep within the body, right? When you're going deep within the body, you need light. Okay? So we look for bright flowers. right? We look for calendula, we look for safflower, we look for, you know, sometimes you could do lavender, jasmine. You want things that are bright because now you're going deep within the body to look for, to hunt down parasites and stuff like that. So this is why calendula is in it. When we look at pordiaco, pordiaco is a herb that I use for people with MS, right? MS is a, what do you call that thing, boy? They say it's an autoimmune disease. Now, we know that nature does not destroy itself. So an autoimmune disease, what that means is that the body is attacking itself. To me, it does make sense, right? Because I know nature does not destroy itself. So when you look at the autoimmune disease, you have to know that the bacteria, the parasites, the virus, whatever it is that's in the body has the ability to manipulate and imitate real cells to the point where they actually bind to your cells, especially the nervous system, and start to put pressure on the nervous system. And this is where they have a lot of issues with nerve stuff. So now you have to give the body something that could identify these highly advanced bacteria and get them out of the body. And pordiaco is one of them that you definitely could use. Right? I use that in cancer form, cancer blends also, because especially, you know, all right, cancer is cancer. I want you to keep this, remember this, cancer is cancer. So when you hear liver cancer, colon cancer, breast cancer, it doesn't mean anything. Cancer is cancer. If it's in the body, it's in the body. You want to get it out of the body. So this is why we don't cut off breasts and cut off this and no, what you cutting it off for? Cutting it, well, let me not say that. This just from me, okay? Remember, everything I say is from me. Now, we was talking about the liver just a few minutes ago. If anything is in the body, has to pass through the liver. So if the liver has problems, then it will make it way inside the body. If you have cancer, if you have breast cancer, if you have colon cancer or leg cancer, that means you have cancer. And that means that cancer is in the liver also. This is why anybody that tells you that they beat cancer naturally, right, eventually they will tell you that they had to do a liver cleanse, right? So although when it was last year, 2018 January, she had blood cancer. Now they wanted to take bone marrow from the daughters and give her. The daughters didn't approve. Family was being pressured. I got a call. I blend one tea. I asked them to drink that tea for 30 days. They drink that tea for 30 days. After that 30 days is when we started the liver cleanse, and they wanted to do it also. They did the liver cleanse also, right? Tried to cheat. Tried to go and eat some type of callaloo with some type of chicken or something like that, and they vomit their guts out, right? The body doesn't want it anymore. Now, after they finished the liver cleanse, they went and checked the numbers in, I think it was early summer, and they didn't see anything, right? So there was no more. Now, with that said, when you're working with someone and, you know, the whole process of getting better, things change. So, all right, we don't see the cancer in the blood anymore, right? Now they start looking for other things. but the body has to take time to come back to what it was. So everything that you see is not a problem. It's the body energizing itself. So it has to do these things to get to where it needs to go. Right? So when you all face these things, this is why we share these stories. So when you face it, something might come back to you and you just be able to share it with these people, right? Because it's rough out here. It's not, I ain't telling all it easy working with people, right? Because it's not. Well, we know the echinacea is to stimulate the immune system, right? The body itself, this is what some people say, the body itself reads echinacea as a poison. And this is why the immune system amps up so quickly. Right?
It reads it as a what?
As a poison.
Oh, okay.
Right? It reads echinacea as a poison. This is why the immune system kicks in so quickly and it heats the body up, right? Amplifying the white blood cells. Now, it's not poisonous to the body. We know that because we've been using it for a very long time. What I would say is, if you're using it on its own, max time is about 9 days, 12 tops, because you don't want your body to get, how to put it, accustomed to echinacea. Then when you take it, it's like, it would not work. Your body will be like, oh shoot, it's just echinacea again, man. Come on, man, we ain't got time for this. And that's exactly how it's gonna happen, and it will not work for you, right? So there's a lot of people that do that. They take echinacea like daily, saying that, yeah, build an immune system. That's fine, but in the long run, when you really want echinacea to kick in, you might have a hard time with it, right? So any herb that stimulates the immune response that quickly, you don't want to use it too much. All right. Let me see. Sheep sorrel. Sheep sorrel. Where's my sheep sorrel? Yes. Sheep sorrel is definitely kills parasites. And it does not taste bad, so you could definitely make a nice syrup out of this for children. They would even drink the tea also, right? The sheep sorrel is for the parasites. The hyssop is for cleansing. It cleanses a lot of parasites also. Where is that olive leaf? Olive leaf does the same thing. And we know, let me see, which type of parasite we have for olive leaf for it. Yes, olive leaf is both, how do you call it, parasites and fungus. Somebody has a lot of fungus, you definitely could use olive leaf with that. Elecampane expels a lot of parasites, and this is why we use it when it comes to lungs, right? When it comes to the lungs infections, it's a good one for it, right? Who else? I used to use black walnut in here, but due to the fact that a lot of people are allergic to nuts, they don't have to be allergic to black walnuts, right? Or the leaves, but some people are. So it is. Although you put it on your label, you just want to be, I guess, on the safe side. I get plenty people that are allergic to nuts, black walnut already. I haven't heard any complaints yet, but just don't be like me, So let me see. Eucalyptus, obviously, in there to bring in a lot of oxygen in your body too. And yeah, that's it. So you're gonna do the same thing with this blend right here, right? You're gonna transform it into something. I gave you all the ingredients, but then I didn't give the parts. So Let me see what type of parts you come up with. When we mix blends, we do it simple. We don't do a quarter cup of this, half cup of that. No, we do parts. So say this is a part. If you have this is your part right here. So if I'm doing 3 parts of dandelion, it will be 3 parts of dandelion. 1 part of echinacea, 2 parts that, 3 parts that. The part stays the same. Okay? All right. So that's 2 teas you all have to blend over the weekend. Let me give you the, where's the Greek boy? Now, when I said for you to blend, I don't mean to go out and buy the herbs to blend it, okay? I just want it in want you word it out to me. Yeah, this thing is. All right, I think I know this one by heart. The Greekal is the is to build up, it's just to energize the body. You know, put a lot of oxygen in there, put a lot of minerals in there. That's why there's nettle. Most of the herbs that's in the Greekal is you know, on the metabolic side. It's the nettle. There is red raspberry. There's oat straw, right? Oat straw is one of those you'll find in what do you call that, boy? When it comes to circulation, oat straw. If you drink oat straw, people could drink oat straw for 30 days straight and actually clean out their veins and arteries with no problem. Right? So you will find that in your circulation blends and stuff like that. Reason why it's in here is for the same reason. Plus, it's loaded with calcium. So when we add in that calcium inside there, you know, strong bones and teeth all the time. Now, where is your blood made? In the marrow, bone marrow, or should I say the marrow, right? Where your red blood cells, where does the red blood cells multiply and start coming? So, all right, so when your circulation moving, right, and your kidneys identify that there's a low red blood cell count, and it releases the hormone for the body to produce more red blood cells, right? It triggers the body to start producing more red blood cells. What triggers? Where does the red blood cells come from? Oxygen? Yes, red blood cells definitely carry a lot of oxygen, but where does it initiate? Where does it trigger? All right, so where's the processing factory of the red blood cells? The white come from there too. The white blood cells come from there. I know you all know this, man. All right.
Wait, is it the pancreas?
The pancreas? No. Pancreas is where the insulin is produced.
Oh, okay.
The alveoli? No. That's where the alveoli is where the oxygen external respiration takes place. So we inhale, and then the lungs, the air enters the lungs, and the alveoli is where the gases from the outside air enters the body, and the CO2 exits, right? That's where your alveoli is. Where your blood cells are born and generated from is the marrow, right? Down inside the bone marrow. Okay? So Now, if the bone itself is not strong and how to put it, let's say healthy per se, how I guess I should say, how strong would the blood be? You know, how nourished would the blood be, right? Because when you look at bone is not solid, right? Bones is all I forget the structure it is, but it's not just bone, like a solid piece of bone. It's like what kind of grooves and stuff on the inside. And then the marrow is in there and then it produces the blood cells. So when you, with the calcium from the tea that strengthens the bones and nourishes the veins and the arteries and stuff like that, then obviously the blood is going to be much more nourished. And this is why most of what's in the Greek al is green, right? Because the greenness brings a lot of oxygen into the body. And with that oxygen now, as the blood produces those nice red blood cells and the circulation is moving around, you get more energy, you get more alive because there's more oxygen in the body. This is why we drink the Greek al in the morning, because most of the time in the morning is when people start their day. So you want to start your day all, amped up. Kind of make sense? Okay. All right. There's lemon balm inside there also. And who else, boy? There's one more. I used to have lobelia inside there, but because it's high in calcium too, but the lobelia, not much people could drink it. It leaves a kind of, it's very strong and it irritates the throat, like scratchy and stuff like that. So I just took it out and replaced it with the lemon balm. Whew. Oh my God. Any more questions? Any questions? Let me just get some water. My mouth getting dry. Damn, I'm talking too much.
What's the name of that tea you just named?
You who?
What's the name of the tea you just gave us the ingredients to?
Oh, it was the Greek al. I call it Greek al because it is basically green calcium. It's a high calcium tea. I don't care who you give that to, they're gonna get more energy. Especially if you tell them to make like some overnight infusions. That's when you make it by the gallons. Yeah. Anybody here ever drink Rejuvelac? No? All right, that's cool. So we will be drinking that very soon. Rejuvelac is a fermented drink. It's nettle, red raspberry, oat straw, lemon balm, and there's one more, I believe, horsetail. Right? And that tea right there will definitely help people with hair growth and hair loss and stuff like that too. Yeah, Rejuvelac. A lot of
This is for blood circulation.
the last ingredient was horsetail grass. Somebody wanted to say something?
This is for calcium.
Mm-hmm.
So lemon balm is for calcium too?
Yeah. You could use it for calcium.
I thought horsetail was for oh, I just read this. I know it helps your hair grow. But is it like a Isn't it like a fatty situation? Doesn't it like, I'm trying to figure it out. I can't remember.
Okay.
In the library or whatever. Because I know you can put it in your hair to make your hair grow. But then it was something else. Horsetail does a lot. Because this sounds, y'all, the whole tea sounds like it's really for menstrual cramps and menopause almost. But
And all right, so and this is why I said this the herbs could do so much, right? That you don't really need a whole ton of herbs to do this. You could choose like 15 herbs that you want to work with. You could use 10, 12, right? And it all depends on how you blend in your tea, because the herbs could do a lot. You know, they're not just like we read up stuff and yeah, take this for that and that. No, they could do so much more. And you would be able to identify it by observing, you know, looking at them in a dry state, you know, is fine. But when you really meet these plants, get a chance to meet them and see them grow and all of that, it's a whole different ball game after that, right? And this is where you start.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure all this out. So in this tea, what are we using horsetail for, to eliminate the waste that we just moved around in the blood?
The Greek tea is a high calcium tea and is designed to give you a lot of energy. That's all. That is what that tea is for, right? Although you see the horsetail in there, the red raspberry in there, and it sounds like a good blend for menstrual cramps. It could even go as a blend for growing the hair and stuff like that. But what I did with the tea and my intentions behind the tea is to increase calcium and increase energy.
But because you put it in this tea, is it gonna not do the other stuff it does? Because it's
not. It may do a little of it, but that was my intention with the tea. Remember, all we're dealing with is energy now, right?
So you can eliminate herbs by putting something else in it. Like I can add something else to this to make it so that horsetail doesn't work at all.
Yeah, if you want. But then if you don't want horsetail to work, then you wouldn't put it in your tea.
Yeah, but then how do you know what herb is going to eliminate the other one? I make stuff all the time. Like I put together this tea. Because I couldn't sleep. I wasn't sleeping. My friend wasn't sleeping. So I was like, all right, valerian root, lavender, chamomile, passion flower. That's what I know off the top of my head. But valerian root stinks. So you need to add something to that so it doesn't overpower the tea. But then what do you make? You know what I'm saying? Like, at what point am I over drugging myself? Or
okay. You could never over drug yourself. When it comes to herbs, put it like this. Remember, what we're dealing with is natural stuff. So anything that you put in the body doesn't hold on to anything extra, right? So if there's too much valerian, it's going to pass the rest out as waste. It's not going to hold on to it.
So you can't basically make yourself go to sleep for a long period of time.
No.
It's no.
No, no, you can't do that. And the tea that you made there is a lot of relaxants in there. And sometimes there's people, as much relaxant you put in there, if you don't put something to address the adrenals, right, they still wouldn't sleep, because your adrenals have a big part to do with sleep, right? So when we dealing with conditions, we have to look at the body as a whole, right? So like even there was one time a lady came to me, her husband passed away and they was having a very hard time where she wasn't sleeping at all. And I gave her, I think it was lavender, nettle, ashwagandha, and I think one other herb, right? But people ask me why would I give her nettle, right? Because nettle boosts energy. I say, well, the reason why I put the nettle inside there is for when she's sleeping, for her body to actually get some nutrients. So by the time she wakes up, she has the energy, right? And she called me back the next day and she was like, she loved the tea because she was able to sleep. And when she woke up, she wasn't tired, right? So at the end of the day, everything that we know about the herbs, right? We know it, yes. But until we get the full story, the whole story, and we start looking at the body for what it is, the one unit that it is, then we start putting herbs together. Then you won't have to question yourself about anything. Because now you know the entire body, you know all the body functions, how it's supposed to function, how it does function, right? And I mean, sleep could go as far as the eyes, you know, because when the sun goes down and it gets darker, right, the nerve endings and the receptors in the eye trigger that whole sleep pattern, right? So you could actually be dealing with somebody with issues with that, why they can't sleep, you know. So until you really get the whole story, as I say, then you'll be able to put it together with no problem, you know. Yes, you will read up a whole lot of stuff about, and what you read is true. I'm not saying it's not true, it's true, but at the end of the day, you have to look at the whole story. All right, so when it comes to canceling out stuff, like we don't put herbs in there to it's not about, well, me personally, they taught me not to mix herbs with medication, which we don't do, right? Because if someone taking a medication to calm them down, we will not go and give valerian root or passion flower or hops or anything like that, right? Because now the body is way too down, you know. If you gain them, if you give anybody a stimulator like a steroid or something, you know, we don't give it more. We just, that's the only time we start looking at herbs in contradiction with stuff, is when we're dealing with somebody who is taking medication. And most of the time, I don't really deal with anybody that taking medication. You know, it's like, to me, it's like, why would you got to make a choice at the end. One way or the other, you have to make a choice. You want to take the medication or you want to take the herbs. You choose. And when you choose, then you let me know and we go from there. Right? One of the things we don't work with people with is people who taking blood thinners because the blood was designed to be clean. It wasn't designed to be thin. If you thin in the blood, you're basically destroying yourself. Right? You know, that whole blood thinning thing there it goes way back to warfarin. Warfarin is what they used to use as a rat poison, and what they would do with the rat poison, they use it for rat poison to kill the rats, obviously. How that will happen is the rats will eat it and eventually bleed out from the inside. So now they used to use it in the war times where they will go upstream, put it in the water for the soldiers downstream to drink. As they drink it, the same thing happens. So now they just synthesize it a bit, and now they're giving it to people to thin your blood. And this is why when you on blood thinners, they would tell you, well, you have to come and check your blood every so often during the week. You know, because if it gets too thin, I mean, shit, if your veins and your arteries is all, you could bleed out from the inside with no problem. Somebody hit you a hard blow, you know, anything could happen. But don't worry about the herbs and don't read into too much of it. All right, you just know what it is you're gonna blend, right? And you put that in your blend. The intentions that you have for these herbs to do whatever they do.
So does sugar mess that up, or any type of sweetener if you put like agave or honey in it?
All right, so agave or honey, that's fine. Sugar, no, right. We don't use sugar in teas.
No brown sugar, no dark brown, no nothing.
No.
Agave or honey.
Agave or honey, dates. Who else? Some people use coconut sugar. Just the word sugar alone turns me off, but yeah, but no sugar. Because sugar, you put sugar in tea is just destroying the tea. You know, we don't microwave tea either. There's some people that microwave the tea. We don't. Right? Let me see. Anything else? Any more questions? No? All right. So we have the 3 tea blends to put together over the weekend. I'm gonna post the I think on Tuesday we have fire to deal with. So I'll post that up. Yes. We trying to give you all as much as I can. You know. And then we'll do some more stuff for sure. I will type out the list of the herbs that I talked about tonight, and I'll post them up for you all. That if you didn't have it, you could get it. And yeah, we go from there. Once we touch on fire, we will see how fire behaves in the body. We watch how fire behaves in nature. What represents fire? We know when it comes to representation of fire, we talk about red. We know red for sure. So when we talk about fire in the body, we know we're talking about the blood, right? Because the blood is what transforms everything. It's what carries all the nutrients and all of that. So it is one of the number one transformers in the body, right? And then obviously for the blood to move, we need the heart. For the heart to work, you know, we need all these things. So, all right, we continue looking at the body as one, and then, you know, you all be doing some good stuff, man. I know that for sure. How is everybody finish write out what it is they want to be doing? Because remember, when we finish the elements, you gotta choose one thing of your vision, your visualization, and you have to start doing it. All right, and we will be finishing the elements, and I'll say maybe about next 3 weeks or so. All right, so don't forget that, please. That's an important part of it. Okay, so if we have no more questions, we could wrap it up. As I say, I didn't do any demos of the hydrotherapy. I don't have a assistant, but when I find one, I will definitely show you some stuff. You all want more products to make on the weekends? Yes, no, maybe so. No?
Yeah.
One more products.
Whatever you're giving. Writing all of that down.
Anything in anything that's specific that you all want? This way I could kind of, you know, work it in together?
I want to, so how, I don't know. My brain just I'm just trying to gather all of this. So I'm a massage therapist, right? And I mix all this stuff together in oils and shea butters and stuff like that, right? But then, like, can the same thing I'm doing through the skin happen the same way with making a tea? Or does it have to be a tea and kind of like added as a supplement during like a massage?
It.
Like if somebody had cancer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably have them, hopefully they're eating right, but you know that you can eat cherries, you eat grapes, I guess broccoli. I just found out that was like a genetically modified food. So whatever fights cancer, you eating it. But then you would have to eat it, probably drink some herbs, maybe smoke or vaporize something. But would it help if you did like a little steam and then got a massage with some infused oil?
Yes, it would. Because once your pores open up and it starts to release, that's always a good thing. Now, when you're applying oils now, it depends on the oils, your base oil, right? So say you had a tea, right? And your tea now, you decide to use that tea on the inside. You could actually use the tea on the outside too. You make an oil out of the tea and you could apply it same way. Now, the only thing on the outside now, you have to use an oil that will penetrate the body.
Right. And there's so many. So, because I've done, I mean, I just do shea butter because it's easier. Once you melt it down and do everything, it holds its form a little bit better than if you did coconut oil, because the minute it turns 73 degrees, it's melting. So you gotta have a good bottle. But then I tried using avocado oil, and I like that better when it's mixed with coconut oil.
Okay.
But then I thought grapeseed oil was a good one, but then I read that grapeseed oil wasn't good for your skin. So
okay, well they have like different grapeseed oils and stuff like that. Did you ever try castor oil?
no, castor oil is really thick though, right?
It's thick, but we're looking for action. So castor oil is one of them will penetrate the body, penetrate deep within the body.
And it's better than olive oil.
Yes, when it comes to penetrating the body, yes.
And you don't want to go by, what is that stuff they call DMSO? We don't want to use that, right? Because that's not natural.
What is that? First time I'm hearing that.
So look at any lotion bottle. Look at anything that's involving the skin that you needed to penetrate, like moisturize. It's this thing called DMSO. And it's like, I guess it's a chemical that opens your pores up so that everything can go in. And you buy it from the Tractor Supply store. Tractor Supply. Like, this is what somebody, because I'm really trying to do something with weed. So I'm trying to do like a whole therapeutic thing where you basically hit every element, like you said, water, fire, air, ether, or whatever. So this guy that makes different edibles, and he actually makes his own tinctures where he's healing people with it, but he don't want nobody to know, obviously. But he makes his own capsules and all that, like got a lab, everything. His girlfriend from Trinidad, she got these lab stuff. And I was like, oh,
okay,
I need to be with y'all. Right? So he's like, well, go to the Tractor store and get DMSO. And I'm like, what? Like, I'm not putting DMSO. That just sounds like it has gasoline or something in it. Like, but he said if you put too much, you could hurt somebody. I'm like, well, I'm just not going to use that at all. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't something that was necessary.
Yeah, it's put like this. If we can't eat it, we don't put it on the skin.
Boom.
We keep it simple, right? So if you can't eat the DMSO, then we don't put it on the skin, right? When your pores open, most of the time the pores open to release, right? So we're talking about penetrating not only the epidermis and the dermis, but all the way down through the fat cells. Shoot, we might even get a bone. And this is where we use castor oil. Well, later on down when we will start working with the castor oil and we make a castor oil pack, we will see how quickly it penetrates the body and affects the body, right? All right, let me read some of these things here before. All right, blends for the reproductive issues. Okay, we could come up with that. Fibroid and cysts, candida overgrowth. Okay, all right. So yeah, we will address those. I'll try and put them in and as we go and see how we just put them together. We just bring it together. All right. So if no more questions, I think we could wrap up for tonight and you know, we meet again Tuesday. All right, you all? No more questions? Okay, cool. All right then. So we'll talk.